bloody fantastic.
Hello everybody, my name is Goodboy and welcome to a video on the best offlaners of patch 7.20e. So the first hero I want to talk about is Underlord. Underlord, similar to the other heroes actually, funny enough, has about a 52%-ish win rate at the highest level of skill, which is always worth noting. But at lower levels of skill, actually more like 55-56% win rate, and performs very, very well in the offlane. So definitely, especially when you're in the slower skill brackets, a hero worth spamming quite a bit. One of the biggest things that happened to Underlord during the changelog was the Atrophy Aura rework. And this is where while it no longer appears as spell immunity, its radius was generally increased, and the attack damage bonus was added to Atrophy. So if any hero died under the Atrophy Aura, a permanent attack damage bonus would be added to Underlord. And Atrophy Aura already was an exceptionally strong ability, but this made it even worse. And you can imagine if Underlord's being there for consistent team wipes, admittedly he's got to be very close by when it happens, i.e. ideally in the heart of a team fight, and they all die, there's a huge level of damage per team wipe, so a maximum of 25 damage that you can do. So that works out pretty nicely. If you look at successive patches, his movement speed was slightly improved because he is a slow hero, I'd definitely say that. And also his intelligent gain was slightly reduced because of the spell spam that he was doing. And that kind of pretty much sums up Underlord. So let's kind of break down Underlord just quickly and tell you why you're going to need to use him in the offlane and how you're going to effectively use him. So there's in terms of win rate, there are two kinds of abilities that you want to max out. Your first one obviously is his Firestorm ability, the percentage damage that it deals to your enemy targets, and also its large AoE is a superb spell for securing yourself plenty of last hits. The second ability that you'll ramp up immediately afterwards is Atrophy Aura, obviously for the reasons I've mentioned, and of course don't forget it reduces the damage of your enemies. Now to start off with, it's a pretty low percentage, about 7%, but as it ranks up it reduces it by 40%, which is pretty insane if you think about it. So taking those two into account, you can imagine what that's going to do in the offlane. So one of the biggest advantages, naturally, of course, is the securing of farm and harassment at the same time. Because of the AoE, large AoE effect of it, you're going to do a lot of damage, making it very easy for you to get your last hits off the safe lane creeps or your off lane creeps, while at the same time harassing enemy heroes that are trying to secure their own farm. Very, very effective against melee because they've either got to take a lot of damage or not get farm. This is an insane advantage. And then with the Atrophy Aura, it becomes harder and harder for them to last hit. And then if you do secure a successful kill, of course, you're going to get your giant benefit from that. So 2 for 2, really, really great things about Underlord. And of course, it helps him farm as well. So, really great stuff. Generally, Underlord is a very tanky hero, which makes him pretty hard to kill. The only thing I would say is you have to be very careful about your mana pool. So obviously plenty of clarities, a mango definitely for the win, and you should be able to more or less continually bombard the enemy with plenty of spells, and of course going for that rushed mana boots is going to work awesomely well against most enemies. Things maybe to look out for in terms of like Underlord is obviously there are certain heroes that are going to work very, very well against him. These are generally going to be heroes that are going to burst him down in quick succession before he has a chance to meaningfully respond. Or heroes that take advantage of his mana pool. So for example, Clinks can turn up, silence him, which is a big problem because that ruins most of what he can do, and then burn him down. OD is another example of a mana destroying hero. And then heroes like Sniper, who he can't really get close to, can just continually smash him with lots of damage. Although again, it isn't uncommon for Underlord to get a Blade Mail, so he can kind of come back pretty nicely. But bearing that in mind, he wrecks hard carries because he ruins them in lane. So heroes like Spectre, Chaos Knight, Wraith King are all going to have a tough time. Even Phantom Lancer are all going to have a tough time because of his AoE damage, and because while they're trying to farm in the safe lane, he makes it practically impossible for them to secure a farm. So a very, very, very good hero that you can use to your advantage. The next best hero is Undying. Undying has a slightly improved win rate over Underlord, but only very slightly. And Undying saw a major rework that is, well, ridiculous in many ways. And that's with the Flesh Golem. So, you know, it now deals percentage damage as well. So it slows enemies within the range and causes them to learn a certain percentage of their health. That current health loss per second is 7%. That is pretty scary, along with the movement speed cell. So there's a huge amount. Now it counts as mana damage, magic damage, sorry. But at the same time, it still dishes out a lot of damage. A real scary little ability. So that's just kind of, you know, putting that out there. And on top of that lovely little effect, he still boasts insane offlane power. So a mixture of different reasons. Soul Rip, of course, is insane. Well, okay, let's break it down. Actually, probably the most effective ability he has. Tombstone. So Tombstone with those annoying little zombies are insane for harassment, pushing enemies back and helping you secure farm. And it can get completely out of control. Then, along with his ability to steal health and then deal lots of magic damage while regenerating, he has everything he needs to maintain a continuous lane control and put a lot of pressure. And it also makes it very easy to secure kills. To be honest, him and Underlord together would be a cancer lane, despite putting two melee heroes in the same offlane. Would be absolutely insane to deal with, and GG. GG. Maybe think about that if you're thinking about your offlane heroes. Bearing in mind, though, of course, that you can put pressure on that. The big thing that helps with a lot of offlane heroes is being able to offer more in the mid and even late game. And to be honest, the reworked Flesh Golem is relevant really quite up until really the late game. When you get into super late game, then it's kind of less relevant. But in the mid game, it's absolutely terrifying. And as soon as Flesh Golem does come online, this guy is crazy insane. Now, the thing that's worth definitely taking into account, though, of course, is the mana dependency of the guy. And again, like Underlord, lots of mana regeneration. But of course, you do have the shrines available to you. And that's pretty awesome. Again, with Undying, choosing how you level him is very, very important. You kind of want one of your Decay and one of your Soul Rip, and then you want to basically max out Tombstone. That can work pretty nicely. However, there are different ways that you should probably take into account when dealing with it. Again, heroes that they tend to trash are once similar to Underlord, safe lane heroes that are dependent on lots of farm. So Spectre, Chaos Knight, Wraith King are all going to have a really tough time. He also trashes in a lot of strength, tanky-based strength heroes. That's the other thing with him that's quite scary. Obviously, with his with your attribute reducing abilities, that is quite a nightmare. And so even tanky heroes like Dragon Knight actually have quite a tough time against him. Once again, heroes that are going to take advantage of his mana pool and wreck his ability to spam off all his spells continually are a nightmare for him. So again, heroes either with silence, like Medusa with the mana steal, Clinks with obviously the silence, can burst him to death without any trouble at all. Heroes, Drow Ranger even can be a real nightmare for him. So these are the kind of heroes worth generally avoiding and not picking into. But if you think in your safe lane you are going to be against heroes that aren't going to mess with you in terms of silence or in terms of mana drain, then actually this hero fares exceptionally well. So while they're kind of much of a muchness in terms of their win rate, Tidehunter still, technically speaking, even in higher skill levels, remains one of the best offlaners in the game right now. Now again, of course, it all comes down to those ability reworks, and in Tidehunter's case, and this, the quite nice thing about this one is he didn't get nerfed consequently, was Anchor Smash. So while it no longer pierces spell immunity, it now makes Tidehunter perform instant attacks to enemy in an area with True Strike and also a bonus attack damage, instead of dealing, you know, the 75 to 225 physical spell damage. Ravage also got a damage increased, and there were some adjustments to the talent tree. But fundamentally, is the Anchor Smash there that is actually really, really good. That True Strike in particular is exceptionally powerful. But what it means is this ability levels along with Tidehunter if his damage meaningfully increases. Admittedly, though, it's very unusual to see a Tidehunter with a Divine Rapier. Reason why this is so good, though, is the pressure it creates in the offlane. A lot of damage to nearby enemies. They take additional damage, obviously, from, well, not so much additional damage, but they take his attack damage as well. And heroes like PA, for example, actually have a disaster playing against him. And this is why Tidehunter, basically, in terms of like the best ability builds, should always pretty much max out the Anchor Smash. Then in terms of durability, his Kraken Shell is going to do everything he needs. With, to be honest, very few uses of Gush. Generally, it's like Anchor Smash and Kraken Shell, Anchor Smash. You know, that's kind of what you want to be doing, and then occasional Gushes. But Gushes generally will be finished off towards the end, building him. Obviously, that makes complete sense in terms of how you would run the hero. Remember his durability, but remember also that, again, similar to Undying, it's that mid-game impact that is so ridiculously terrifying from the guy, particularly with Ravage. The setup for a team fight is insane, especially once the guy gets a Blink Dagger, which is one of the most popular items and recommended items that you should get for Tidehunter. Once you have that with Tidehunter, generally he fares very well against heroes that are reasonably tanky. Obviously, high armor heroes are a problem, but I mentioned it before, Phantom Assassin is a nightmare for her to deal with him. That actually contributes to his reasonable win rate, because even as the game progresses, he's still getting True Strike on her. So he's pretty much hard carrying her from the word go. So he's a great hero. And bearing in mind that Phantom Assassin is so popular right now, picking him is an awesome choice. Again, fares well against heroes that are going to generally have low armor. Or do things that can affect that. So Slardar, you can play against it well. Squishy supports can have a tough time, like Warlock or whatever. Heroes that he's not going to be so good against, obviously high agility armor heroes, they're quite agility heroes. So for example, Juggernaut tends to fare quite nicely against him. Or heroes with massive levels of regen, so like Alchemist, for example, are going to fare well. And again, anybody that can either like burst him down, pick him off quite easily without them seeing him coming, or are going to trash his mana pool, because again, all these offlaners have weaknesses with the mana pool. So Medusa is not an ideal matchup. But heroes like Outward Devourer are going to be a problem for him in quite a big way as well, because again, intelligence. And those are the best heroes right now for the offlane, especially if you're in the lower skill brackets. Thank you so much for watching. Please give the video a like, subscribe and share. Goodbye.